how are they going to be able to fare against the tactics that VT implemented very well against CU?
Three, two, one. Game start. Torino versus Virginia Tech to make it out of groups to continue in this tournament right here, round one. A classic start. Both teams' standards going to the resupply zone. Oh, I was about to say Virginia Tech's hero not moving, but it makes it out of base. 15 seconds of sitting. So we'll have to see if that was just a driver issue or what's happening. But
VT standard tearing across the middle and going straight for the resupply zone, getting first blood.
And it looks like Torino's still having a projectile speed issue that will probably spell disaster for them, as they've now already given over level 2 to the standard 3 from Virginia Tech. A tragedy for the team from Torino.
That sentry health dropping very quickly as the standard is using that level 2 advantage to put quite a lot of pressure on both of the Torino standards, and that overspeed is going to be an insidious destruction mechanism.
Austin, when Red Standard 4 revives, can we stay in that cockpit for a second so we can watch? All right, so chat, you're going to be able to see the bullet speed here. You can see that red number that says 20.9 is the projectile velocity in meters per second. They've got to stay under, I believe it's 15. Is that correct for level 1?
I think so. It's 15 or 16. Regardless, 20 is a bit greater of a value for that. And that's going to be in chassis overpower, it looks like.
Level 1 standards are really tough to get going. I'd imagine even more so with balancing standards, because sometimes you need extra power to torque your robot back to standing up.
And as we saw with Purdue's balancing standard, you do get a little bit more leniency on at least your barrel cooling rate, but that's not going to mean that you're able to shoot those faster projectiles at the lower levels, which is what we've seen to be a very difficult pit to get out of for all the lower level standards.
There we go. They're firing now at 13 meters per second. Not sure what they've changed, but it's going well. Not able to get out of this resupply though. Getting bullied into the wall. Ooh, blue 3's got to be careful. That's really close to a yellow card. They can't get into the enemy team's resupply zone, Matt.
They cannot.
They pushed really close to that boundary.
Both Torino robots trying to be able to make a comeback with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in this match. VT looking to very healthily secure their victory. Aced. As it looks like those overspeeds and overvolts are going to be the reason that Torino is not able to get to the other side of the field.
We'll see if Standard 4 for the side of Torino is able to continue keeping their projectiles in the correct velocity. They were doing good on that round we were just in. They do have one blood bag available, so they could go back. But at this point, the hero for Virginia Tech that we saw so effective against CU in that familiar spot behind the base, chunking away from Torino's base. 495 health remaining. That's going to be 3 more hero shots needed to take the base out.
Now we hop into the cockpit of that hero, seeing the cool HUD that the team has custom made for the competition. As you notice, as we go from driver seat to driver seat, you can see the differences in preferences that certain teams have for showing that the drivers, the systems that are on the robot, what's active, what's not. As we can see here, we have a pretty standard cockpit. But whenever we go over to different ones, we can see there's now like a lead indicator, and there's the whole setup of how they have where their chassis is oriented, with the yellow being the front, that black line being the turret, their power, their spin. They've got a lot more bells and whistles that they need to know about.
Virginia Tech now getting a bit of practice in. After this is their last round of groups, they're going to be going most likely into the double elimination bracket, and this round ends in a minute.
You know, it said overspeed, but honestly, I think that hero shot could have definitely taken it out if that overspeed happened a few seconds later. Hero shots doing huge amounts of damage to level 1 sentry or level 1 standards. Aced. As we now see the hero is just trying to make sure he can get some practice hitting moving targets.
Virginia Tech not playing around, not letting these Torino robots buy more projectiles or heal, making sure that they secure the central buff point. Reminder that this is the deciding game for who gets out of groups. So full court press from Virginia Tech, ensuring that there's no possibility for Torino to have a comeback in this game.
15 seconds left. Another overpower.
Yeah, I mean, they're still at level 1. Those buffs, I mean, those...
Double kill. Aced.
Yeah, Matt, the referee's doing a good job here. Virginia Tech really making them work. There were a lot of things there that Virginia Tech might need to clean up before these later rounds. They got really close to the resupply zone. There was a little bit of ramming, a little bit of pushing. Those aren't things that will fly ever in RoboMaster.
Not going to have any issues, but that's a little bit too strong of a commitment to make, especially in a preseason build.
3, 2, 1. Game start. All right, Torino versus Virginia Tech. Level 1 for both robots. Really the most pivotal time for games like this, Matt. We're going to talk about a lot of different types of games today, but this is what I would deem as an early stage game. Whoever dies first is going to struggle. If these Torino bots can get level 2 without dying, they will be able to fire their projectiles probably much more effectively.
It looked like Virginia Tech, I think, was trying to test their sentry because Torino has not come onto their side of the field. They were trying to push the sentry over, and in doing so, somehow disconnected their sentry, putting Torino actually in the lead in this one.
That's right, Torino in the lead.
Looks like they got that ammo system solved.
When this sentry goes down, it will give level 2 to Torino, which is what they need. It's how they've won games before.
20 meters a second is not an overspeed at level 2. And they were also still able to be shooting at level 1.
Wow, Matt, this is going to be crazy. We'll have to check the numbers exactly to see if Torino, what will happen if Torino and VT tie. I believe it will go the way of VT, but initially, straight off the bat with 3 minutes and 45 seconds left, Torino at least looking to take a match off of Virginia Tech here as we're in the cockpits of them fighting the Virginia Tech hero, which has been a menace on the field. Absolutely crushing teams in its path, killing Torino this last game, killing Colorado University earlier in this difficult group.
You can see how many just 42mm golf balls are all over the arena. I believe that's just from this round, as they had a ton of time to clean it up last round. So, there's that overpower issue. That was overpower, not overspeed, so at least some progress has been made there.
Yeah, and that standard 4 from Torino has had, or standard 3, excuse me, from Torino has had more issues. Obviously, they've had to spend quite a bit of time on this balancing standard to make sure that it's working at a high level. Virginia Tech still having this hyper-aggressive strategy as they chase robots backwards towards their own reload zone.
Standard for VT being level 2, so putting him on par.
Strat's working very well. They've now forced Torino to use all of their blood bags and have a slight advantage on the buff zone towards getting the next blood bag. Torino needs to score a kill onto this hero pretty quickly. Note that the base is not invincible for Torino, and so the hero could chew through the shield as it's starting to do right now. You can see the shield remaining HP directly under that bar, 1100 shield health left, as Torino has an overpower again on their non-balancing standard.
We only saw it for a second, but Torino using their balancing standard very, very well. As soon as it stops shooting and needs to go down for the barrel cooldown, it just immediately turns sideways, making sure that it cannot take damage because the balancing standards do not have to have 4 armor panels. They only have to have 2, and those wheels do not have armor panels on them.
With 2 minutes left, Virginia Tech really choosing a poor angle to fire there, but has made the adjustment that they need and is now firing perpendicular and chewing through the shield of Torino.
Torino taking shots at VT's base.
They've got all Torino has to do now is take out the hero from Virginia Tech. They've got a level 3 standard. It should win in robot-to-robot combat. It just needs to focus on the hero instead of the base. They can't base race a hero, Matt. We've talked about this so many times.
Looks like VT's not going to give them the option.
Virginia Tech, with the better gameplay strategy here, understanding that they win the base race, is now in the lead again using their hero. And a misplay slightly here at the end by Torino with a minute left to go.
Still recoverable if they can get that hero out of that
700
corner.
damage
and
with standards.
Not anymore.
Yeah, Virginia Tech able to take round 2. Those are the matches we were hoping to see in this game. That one really came down to skill expression and driver decision making, not any sort of robot technical issues. So a good job from Virginia Tech. And man, Matt, I hope that the teams going into the playoffs are listening to me. I know most of them are probably sleeping or working on robots, but people have got to start watching Virginia Tech's hero. You can't just let that man